The Queen discovers the truth. The royal chamber aboard the Virexa, the Zinthari flagship, was silent. Not because of peace, because of fear. The Queen of Zinthari stood tall in front of a massive screen, her black and gold robes flowing like living smoke. Her skin shimmered with bioluminescent power. She was not just a ruler. She was a symbol of absolute control, and now that control had been defied. "Confirm the readings," she ordered. The high bioseer bowed his head. "We've scanned her genetic structure thrice, my queen. The clone Zira has conceived." The queen's sharp jaw clenched. "With what?" "With a human male," the seer said quietly. Whispers filled the room. Disbelief. Disgust. Danger. "She was never designed for that," hissed General Vox. "She is not even a complete being." "And yet," the queen muttered, stepping forward, "she carries something that even I have not. A child. Half human. Half Zinthari. Born not from programming, but from choice." The idea sent a strange ripple down her spine. Was it anger? Jealousy? Or something else? "She was always curious," the queen said softly. "Always drawn to emotion." "She should be destroyed," snapped another elder. "She threatens the hive balance." The queen turned slowly, her voice like thunder wrapped in silk. "No. No one touches her." Silence. "I want the human brought to me. Alive. If he could make a clone fall, I want to look into the eyes of the man who corrupted my creation." Back on the jungle planet, the sky darkened. Not from clouds, but from the looming shadow of the Queen's ship descending. Ethan stood outside the pod watching the sky with suspicion. "That's not a storm," he muttered. Zyra stood beside him, pale, clutching her stomach. Her strength was fading fast. The changes inside her were accelerating. "It's her," she whispered. "The Queen, she knows." Ethan turned sharply. "The one you were cloned from?" Zyra nodded. "She'll take you, and she'll kill me." "No," Ethan growled. "We run." Zyra didn't move. "I can't," she said. "My body is changing too fast, and I won't survive if we go deep into the wild." He held her shoulders. "Then I'll protect you. I don't care if she's a queen. She won't touch you." Zyra looked at him with something between awe and sadness. "You don't understand. Ethan, she doesn't need to fight. One word from her when minds crumble." Ethan smirked. "Then I just won't listen." She smiled weakly. "You're impossible." The Queen's personal vessel touched down like a falling moon. Silent, cold, terrifying. Her royal guards surrounded the pod clearing in seconds. Their armor hummed with energy. Their eyes were dead. Ethan stood in front of Zyra, body tense, heart hammering. Then she walked in. The Queen. Tall. Glowing. Ancient and beautiful in a way that wasn't human. Her presence made the air itself feel heavier. She looked at Ethan, studied him. Not with hatred, but with fascination. "So you're the one?" she said, her voice smooth and echoing. Ethan didn't move. "You came all this way just to steal me?" "To see," she said. "To see what made a clone break protocol. What made her choose a life over programming. You must be very special." He stepped in front of Zyra. "She's the special one. She saved me. She protected me. And now, she's carrying something ours." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "You speak like you love her." "I do." That word, that sound. It cracked something inside the Queen. She glanced at Zyra, now kneeling behind him, breathing hard. "You love him too?" the Queen asked her clone. Zyra nodded. "With all I have." And then the Queen did something no one expected. She laughed. Not mockingly, not cruelly, but softly, like someone tasting rain after centuries of drought. "In all my years," she whispered, "no Zinthari has ever told me they love me." She stepped closer to Ethan. close enough to smell the sweat and earth on him. "What did you give her?" she asked. "I didn't give her anything," Ethan said. "She found it in herself." "Then maybe I want it too." Zira's eyes widened. "No, he's not a tool." "I don't want to use him," the Queen said. "I want to understand." She turned back to Ethan. "Come with me. I will not harm her. You have my vow. But I want to know why your presence made even a clone feel like a queen." Ethan didn't answer. The jungle was quiet again, but the war had just begun. Inside hearts. When royalty lands, the jungle clearing had never felt more suffocating. Ethan stood frozen between two women, both alien, both powerful. One had risked everything to save him. The other ruled empires with a whisper. Queen Kareth of the Zenthari sat calmly on a stone slab her guards had shaped into a throne within seconds. The vines of the jungle dared not touch her. Her presence twisted the air itself as if gravity bowed to her will. Across from her, Zira lay weak, resting against the crash pod. Her face pale, eyes tired, but burning with emotion. Between them stood the man who had changed everything. The Queen's voice broke the silence. "I didn't come here to conquer. Not this time." Ethan didn't relax. "Then why are you here?" She smiled. "To understand. To feel, perhaps. Isn't that what you gave her, Ethan?" "Feeling?" He said nothing. Kareth's golden eyes flicked to Zira. "She was my shadow, my clone. But now she holds something even I cannot create. A child born from will, not command. That fascinates me." Zira's voice was soft but sharp. "He's not a test, and neither is our child." Kareth rose, her elegant steps silent even on the damp ground. "And yet, I find myself wondering." She looked at Ethan. "Would you choose her again, if I offered you me?" Ethan blinked. "What?" Kareth walked closer. "I'm not asking as a queen. I'm asking as a woman who has never been loved. Not truly. Not freely. You did what no Zenthari male could ever do. You made her break her code, abandon her mission, and carry your child." She stood inches from him now. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Don't you wonder what it would be like to touch the original?" Zira turned her face away. That sentence cut her deeper than any blade. Ethan's jaw tightened. "I'm not a trophy." "Neither am I," Kareth replied. "But maybe we could be something else. Something new." She reached for his hand. He didn't take it. Instead, he stepped back, toward Zira. "I already chose," he said. Kareth looked at him for a long, silent moment. And then something unexpected happened. Her face cracked, not with anger, with pain. Real pain. "Then it's true," she said softly. "Even with all my power, I cannot command love." That night, the Queen did not sleep. She sat alone beside a glowing fire her guards had made, staring at her reflection in a pool of water. Her face was flawless, ageless, worshipped, but empty. Behind her, Zira approached slowly, one hand resting on her swollen belly. "You wanted him, didn't you?" Zira said. Kareth didn't turn. "I didn't know I did until I saw how he looked at you." Silence passed between them like a slow-burning fuse. "I was made in your image," Zira said, "but something inside me grew different." Kareth finally turned. "I see that now. You're not just my reflection. You're my opposite. You broke free." Zira nodded. "Because I felt something. Not just for him, but for myself." Kareth looked at her stomach. "And the child?" "Will be born from love," Zira whispered. The Queen stepped closer. "May I touch it?" Zira hesitated, then took Kareth's hand and placed it on her belly. For a moment, Kareth's cold exterior melted. She felt it. The flutter. The life. Her fingers trembled. "What is this warmth?" she asked. Zyra smiled. "It's what you've been missing." Meanwhile, Ethan walked alone through the jungle trail gathering wood for a fire. His head was spinning. The queen wasn't a monster. She wasn't what he expected, but that made her even more dangerous. Powerful people who feel empty often do reckless things to fill the void. When he returned to the clearing, Kareth was already gone, back inside her sleek shuttle, surrounded by guards. Zyra looked at him with tired eyes. "She's leaving at dawn," she said. Ethan dropped the firewood. "Is that good or bad?" "I don't know." "She touched the baby," he said, sitting beside her. Zyra leaned her head on his shoulder. "And for the first time, I saw something real in her. Something human." Ethan sighed. "I don't think we've seen the last of her." "No," Zyra agreed. "She's tasted what it means to feel, and she won't walk away from that easily." As they sat in silence under the stars, the unborn child kicked softly, and somewhere in the sky, above, a queen stared out her ship's window, whispering to herself, "If he made one clone love, what else could he make me become?" A bond deeper than DNA. The wind whispered through the jungle canopy, but no one heard it. Inside the ruined escape pod, Zyra lay curled on her side, sweat on her brow, her breaths shallow. The child was growing faster than it should. Too fast. Her alien biology struggled to keep up with the human life blooming inside. Ethan knelt beside her, wiping her forehead with his shirt. Panic tugged at the edges of his calm. "Hang in there," he whispered. "I'm not losing you, not now." Zyra gripped his hand. Her voice was dry. "It's too soon. My body isn't meant for this speed." Ethan looked at her with glassy eyes. "Then we'll slow it down. We'll find something, some way to help." Before he could finish, a low hum filled the air. The Queen's vessel had returned. Queen Kareth didn't walk this time. She descended. A levitating platform carried her from the ship, her robe flowing like smoke behind her. But this time she wore no crown, no guards. Only her eyes shimmered, with something closer to urgency than power. She stepped into the pod's shadow like a ghost entering a chapel. Ethan stood tall. "Why are you back?" Kareth raised her, hand not in command but in peace. "I came because you need me." Zyra opened her eyes weakly. Her gaze locked onto the Queen. "I don't trust you," she rasped. "I don't ask for trust," Kareth said. "Only the chance to save the child." "How do we know you're not here to take it?" Ethan asked, voice sharp. The Queen looked down at Zyra's trembling form. "Because for the first time in my existence, I care more about something I did not create than everything I ever ruled." She knelt, the Queen of the Zinthari, kneeling. "I can stabilize her. I know how your DNA is reacting to hers. Let me help. Not for politics. For her." Zyra closed her eyes. Ethan hesitated, then gave a slow nod. Kareth pressed her hands gently over Zyra's belly, eyes glowing. Energy pulsed from her fingertips. Deep violet light. Ancient science. Forbidden knowledge. Healing woven with emotion. Zyra gasped. And then, her body relaxed. The pain lessened. Her skin cooled. The child's wild heartbeat steadied into something gentle. "Safe. She'll live," Kareth whispered. "And so will the baby." Ethan stared at her. "Why would you do this?" Kareth didn't look at him. "Because I finally understand why she chose you." Later that night, the jungle was alive with strange quiet. Not danger, just a stillness. Like the world itself was waiting. Zyra was resting again, her body stronger, her dreams calmer. Outside, the pod, Ethan sat near the fire. Kareth sat across from him, no guards, no throne. Just two souls divided by galaxies. "You loved her first," Kareth said, breaking the silence. "She's the reason I'm alive," Ethan replied. "She gave up everything for me." "I know," Kareth said, "and I envy her." Ethan looked At her. You're the queen of an entire species. What could you possibly envy? Kareth's voice was soft, almost bitter. She was free to fall in love. No one ever loved me for who I am, only for what I command. Ethan stirred the fire with a stick. Maybe that's because you never gave anyone the chance. Kareth looked away. I thought power was everything. But when I saw her risking her life for a single human, I realized I've lived 1,000 years without ever truly feeling. He didn't reply. You changed her, she said. And now you've changed me too. Ethan met her gaze. I didn't ask for that. I know, she said. But here we are. Zyra woke to find them talking in the firelight. The closeness, the tone, the quiet understanding. Jealousy flared inside her. It wasn't about power. It was about connection. She stepped out, her feet light but her presence firm. Am I interrupting something? Ethan jumped up. Zyra, are you okay? Kareth stood, slowly. You're stronger than I imagined. I had to be, Zyra said coldly, to survive a queen who could take what she wants. Kareth didn't answer. She simply bowed her head. I'm not here to take. I'm here to learn, if I can become more than I was. Zyra narrowed her eyes. Don't try to become me. He already chose. The queen smiled faintly. I'm not trying to replace you. I just want to understand why loving him healed you. Zyra walked to. Ethan rested her hand on his chest. Because he didn't see me as a weapon or a clone, just me. The fire crackled. Kareth turned to leave. I'll go now. But if you need me, truly need me, call my name. Zyra raised a brow. And what is that? The queen looked back, her voice a whisper carried by wind. Kareth. As her ship vanished, into the stars, Zyra leaned into Ethan. She still wants you. I know. Do you? He looked into her eyes. No fear, no lies. I want us. She smiled, hand on her stomach. And what about our child? He grinned. He's going to have the strangest bedtime story ever. They laughed quietly. But far away, in her silent chamber aboard the Virexa, Kareth stood before a mirror. She touched her own reflection, and for the first time in 1,000 years, her eyes wept. Trial by fire. The jungle was no longer silent. Time screamed. Flames licked the sky in the distance. Explosions thumped like war drums. The earth trembled beneath Ethan's feet as he watched smoke rise beyond the trees. They've found us, Zyra said, standing beside him, clutching her belly. The Hive Council, she whispered, eyes full of dread. They sent the Judicators. Ethan turned, fists clenched. What the hell is a Judicator? Enforcers of Zinthari law. Cold. Ruthless. Loyal only to the Hive Code. Not even Kareth can stop them once they've started. Ethan's blood ran cold. Inside the crash pod, a warning, light blinked red, communications hijacked. A message forced its way through the static. A hologram flickered to life. 3 Judicators appeared, tall, faceless, armored in dark obsidian, their voices layered and inhuman. Human Ethan Reeve. You have contaminated a sacred vessel of Zinthari. Design. You will stand judgment. The clone Zyra will be extracted and terminated. Zyra gasped, hand over her stomach. Ethan stepped forward. No, you're not taking her. Or the child. The lead Judicator tilted its head. Then we invoke the ancient right of challenge. What the hell is that? Ethan spat. Zyra's face paled. It's an old tradition. A trial by combat. If you survive, they must honor your bond. If you fail, we both die. Ethan didn't hesitate. Tell me where. The arena was grown, not built. Hidden deep in the heart of the jungle, carved from living stone, wrapped in glowing alien vines pulsing with energy. Ethan stepped onto the circular battlefield, the jungle open above him like a mouth ready to swallow. Zyra sat in the audience box, guarded but untouched. Her hand never left her belly. On the other side stood the challenger, a Zinthari gladiator bred for war. Taller than Ethan, 4 arms, skin like metal, eyes empty of mercy. The judicators floated above, observing. And then, from the shadows, she arrived, Queen Kareth. Her royal cloak trailed behind her as she walked through the crowd of Zinthari, warriors and nobles all watching with cold fascination. Zyra looked at her, surprised. "You came?" Kareth sat beside her. "Of course. I may not own him, but I will not let him die forgotten." Zyra blinked. "I thought you would hate him." Kareth shook her head. "No, I envy his strength." In the center of the arena, Ethan rolled his shoulders. Sweat already lined his brow. The judicator's voice boomed. "Begin." The Zinthari beast charged first, fast, terrifying, spinning like a blade with 4 fists flying. Ethan ducked, rolled, barely dodging a blow that cracked the stone behind him. He struck back, his punch landing in the alien's ribs. It didn't flinch. The beast grabbed him by the throat and slammed him into the ground. Zyra stood, screaming. "No!" Kareth raised a hand. "Watch." Ethan coughed blood, vision spinning, but then he remembered something. Not training, not strategy, why he was here. He twisted, grabbing a shard of stone, and stabbed it into the creature's arm joint. A roar, a stumble, and Ethan was back on his feet, gasping. The crowd murmured. The fight dragged on. Minutes felt like hours. Bones cracked. Blood hit the dirt. The jungle watched in silence. But Ethan never gave up, because every time he fell, he heard Zyra's voice. "Come back to me," and that was enough. With one final scream, Ethan launched himself at the beast's neck, wrapped his arms around its head, and snapped it sideways with everything he had left. Silence. Then, a dull thud as the Zinthari dropped to the ground. Dead. Ethan collapsed, barely breathing. Kareth stood. He did it. Zyra ran down, fell to her knees beside him, tears spilling freely. "You came back," she whispered. "Always," he muttered, eyes barely open. "Told you I'd protect you." Above them, the judicators hovered silently. Then they spoke. "Ethan, Reeve, you have proven your worth. The bond shall be honored. The child shall live." Then, without another word, they vanished into the jungle sky. Later, Ethan lay in the pod, wounds wrapped, body aching, but heart full. Kareth stood over him, alone. "You risked death. For love," she said. "I'd do it again," he replied. She looked away. "I once thought strength was power, but today, I saw something stronger." He smiled faintly. "Love?" Kareth nodded. Then, without a word, she leaned down and kissed his forehead. Not with desire, but respect. "You've changed the Zinthari," she said. "And me." Zyra appeared in the doorway. Kareth stepped back. "She's yours," Kareth said softly. "And you are no longer mine to wonder about." She left without waiting for thanks, and the stars seemed a little softer that night. The future. That shouldn't exist, the stars above blinked quietly, like distant memories. But beneath them, life was changing. Zyra stood barefoot in the jungle clearing, her hands cradling her swollen belly. Her skin glowed faintly, not with illness, but with power. The child inside her wasn't just growing, it was awakening. Ethan stood behind her, watching closely. He could feel it too, like the air had shifted, like time itself was holding its breath. "She's coming soon," Zyra whispered. "She?" Ethan asked. Zyra smiled. "I feel it. She's strong and curious, just like you." Ethan chuckled softly. "I hope she gets your eyes. Mine are boring." Zyra didn't respond. Instead, she looked at the stars with something close to fear. The hive won't stop with the judicators. This child is a future they never wanted. And that's exactly why she needs to exist, Ethan said firmly. Because the old ways are broken, and she's proof something better is possible. Far above, aboard the Virexa, Queen Kareth stared silently at a simulation. A digital model of Zira's child rotated in the air. The DNA spiral pulsed with alien and human threads weaving together perfectly, impossibly. Kareth's advisor approached carefully. My queen, the council has demanded termination of the hybrid. They say it's a threat to the hive's identity. Kareth didn't look at him. I once believed that too, she said quietly. But now I see something different. She turned, eyes fierce. Prepare my shuttle. Alone. The advisor blinked. But she is my shadow, and he is the fire that warmed her into life. I will see this through. Back on the planet, night had fallen. Zira's pain had begun. It wasn't normal labor. It was like energy breaking through her body. Her veins lit with light. Her voice echoed with strange vibrations. Ethan held her hand as she screamed. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, she gritted her teeth. She's changing me. My body wasn't meant to carry life, but she's rewriting it, fixing me, from the inside. He didn't understand the science, but he felt it. The forest around them bent inward. The trees leaned closer. The winds whispered her name before she was even born. Kareth's ship landed moments later, without noise. She stepped out. No crown, no robe. Just a white cloak, her eyes wide. What's happening? She asked, breathless. She's coming, Ethan said. And she's not normal. Kareth stepped forward slowly. Zira screamed again, and then everything went still, like the whole planet paused. A light burst from Zira's body. Not fire, not plasma, something gentler, softer. A birth of energy. And then silence. Ethan looked down. In Zira's arms lay a child, small, glowing faintly, breathing, alive, the first of her kind. Human Zinthari hybrid, Zira wept. Ethan smiled, broken and amazed. Kareth knelt. She looked at the baby, eyes full of awe. She looks perfect. Zira held the child protectively. She is. Kareth reached out a hand, slowly. Zira paused, then let her hold the child for just a moment. Kareth's arms trembled. The child didn't cry. She looked up at the queen and smiled, just once, like she recognized her, like she forgave her. Kareth whispered, She sees me. Zira nodded. She sees what we all could become. But peace never lasts. Above the sky, multiple ships entered orbit. The Hive Council had arrived, and they were not here to celebrate. Inside their war vessel, dozens of voices echoed through the command deck. Hybrid must be erased. Royal betrayal must be punished. The Queen has gone rogue. Their war fleet charged weapons. Zira looked up at the night sky, her face pale. They'll kill her. Ethan stood tall. Then we stop them. Kareth stepped between them. No, I will stop them. You'll die, Zira said. Kareth's eyes burned bright. Better to die fighting for the future than ruling over a lie. She handed the baby back to Zira. Her name? She asked. Zira looked at Ethan. He nodded. Elira. Kareth smiled. Let her remember me. As Kareth flew up to meet the Hive Armada, her ship sent one final message to the planet below. If I fail, run. But she didn't plan to fail. She planned to make them see. Not as a queen, but as a mother who never had children. A woman who learned too late what love was. And now, she was ready to burn a galaxy to protect the child who wasn't even hers.